area mapped for the construction of a steel plant by the South Korean steel producer POSCO has become the ground of battle between the people and their elected government. India's provincial government of Orissa is all set to remove the hurdles coming in the way of POSCO's India project. If not by orders from government offices, then by using police force. Somehow, the land has to be acquired, no matter if it is lawful or unlawful. So like a planned war to make way for an investment of $12 billion, the state police marched into the village of Gobindpur in the wee hours of 3rd February 2013. Protesters of anti-POSCO movement, POSCO Pratirod Sangram Samiti or PPSS, were brutally beaten and taken beyond the boundaries of Gobindpur to bring the village under government control. After a year-long halt, it was yet another repressive attempt by the provincial government to acquire people's land for POSCO.
रविवार छुट्टी बारी 3टा रात्रि से आसी आमे बइथेलु हमर धारणारे हमको बाढ़े मारी जो अशुभ भाषा जे सेगरा तम आगे हम कहि परिबुन जो भाषा ते बाड़ी हमको पुरे गिरी टेकिले हमको जो बाड़े गिरी के हम हाथ फाथ सब भांगी जनी बाड़े गिरी हम कोन तार करतेलु कि ताकर कोन मान नहीं ताकर कोन भन नहीं जो 16 वर्ष झुओ को जा गिरी बाड़े कि जा ताका अत्याचार करचनी हम ताकर कोन करतेलु हमर किछि दरकार नहीं हमर हम जगह हम मरी ऊपर छगे हम छाड़ीबुन हम सामु मारी दो हम सब ऊपर से करू.
Once the village came under police control, the district administration continued its land acquisition works amid police presence. The lifeline of local economy and the major source of livelihood, betel vines, were demolished. People were almost forced to submit their vineyards for demolition against compensation money of less than 2.5 lakh rupees. However, the district administration maintained that the acquisition of land was done with consent of the people.
लोग तो अपना खुश वो चाहते हैं कि उनका 5 बरस तोड़ा जाए और इनका जो कॉम्पेंसेशन मनी है आरपीडीएस का मुताबिक उसको मिले. वो तो उसी आधार में हम लोग यहाँ जो पुलिस का प्रोटेक्शन देके इन लोग को हम अभी तोड़ रहे हैं. उसको 5 बरस वो वॉलंटरली तोड़ रहे हैं. हम लोग को इसको मदद कर रहे हैं.
But the realities on ground in Gobindpur village narrate a different story. Ranjan Parida, his wife and mother have been in tears since they lost their vineyard. Ranjan had agreed to the demolition of his betel vine as he was afraid and intimidated by the presence of large number of police.
मना कर हाँ कहीदेली बर्ज भांगी मत चेक देले
तुम सेठी काहे कि विरोध करली
वो मुंडा कहिला कोई जाड़ी पतली.
Ranjan's mother, Kanduri, is equally shocked since the demolition of her family vineyard.
कौन हल्ला मौसी अपन पर काहे की काम चंती कौन होई
ए तो सेती हमर घर साथला पाई गेला जे छानी हरे नखि कहि देला हम भांगी आ फिर भांगी दे आइला.
Ranjan and Kanduri's case is not a lone case. Many other villagers like Kamala Parida too are living with agony since they have lost their source of livelihood. Their last hope is lost. People say police terror plays a role in forcing the villagers to agree to the demolition proposals of the government. Moved by the plight of these protesting people, noted journalist P. Sainath terms the Land Acquisition Law of India an antiquated law.
I think the demonstration is perfectly justified. If you are a citizen of this country, you have the right to protest. And the acquisition is done under a very antiquated law. Today, every government in the country also admits that the law is bad. The Congress party says the law is bad in Uttar Pradesh. Others say that the law is bad in Orissa. The fact is that the process of acquiring land in India is a very undemocratic, very undemocratic and autocratic process.
Thousands of people strongly oppose the sudden revival of land acquisition by the government and its district administration. Political leaders and people bodies went to the villages to express solidarity to the people's movement against POSCO and the forceful land acquisition by the government. Children too joined the movement and appealed to the police to leave their villages and restore peace. After this, the government had to stop land acquisition for a while. The police continued to stay in the villages, keeping a watch on the movement against POSCO's $12 billion integrated steel plant project, and the demolition drive resumed amid tensions to make POSCO feel that things would go in its favor. Claimed to be the largest foreign direct investment project of India, POSCO is facing strong public opposition since the day of signing the Memorandum of Understanding with the Odisha government on 22nd June 2005. First seen in Odisha's capital city of Bhubaneswar, the agitation soon started in the project area. Villagers in large numbers joined the protest movement as the project was planned over their agricultural land and their coastal forest land where they used to grow betel leaves. People of the area marked for the POSCO steel project are primarily agrarian and they sustain on agriculture. Paddy cultivation is a major agrarian activity. Both landholders and landless people are engaged in agriculture for their livelihood. The other agrarian activity is growing betel leaves in the vineyards on the coastal forest lands. This is a flourishing part of the local economy, giving the farmers an opportunity to make a profit of 8.5 lakh rupees from 1 acre of land annually. This activity also employs at least 8 to 10 people with a better wage of about $5 to $6 a day throughout the year in 1 acre of land. The business gives a good dividend even against involvement of family members in their leisure time. So betel wine growers really do not want to submit their vineyards for one-time compensation of 11 lakh rupees. This is the reason why people of the affected villages have been fighting to protect their land and livelihood source.
আমার কোন সুবিধা আছে କରିବ ଆମର ଏଇ ସୁବିଧା ଭଲ ଆମର ବର୍ଜ ଥିଲେ ଆମର ସବୁ ସୁବିଧା ଆମର କିଛି ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ହତାବାଡି ସବୁ
ସରକାର ଆମର ପରସେଣ୍ଟ ପାଉନି
ଆମର ଆମରି ପଇସାରେ ସେ ନାଚୁଛି
ଆମେ ସରକାର ପଇସା
ଟଙ୍କିଆ ଚାଉଳ ଦଉଛି ଟଙ୍କିକିଆ ଚାଉଳ ଦଉଛି ଆମର ଏବାରେ 5 ଟଙ୍କା 50 ଟଙ୍କା ପିଆଜ କିଲୋ ନଉଛି ଆମକୁ ସେ କଣ ଦଉଛି ତା ବାପା ସମ୍ପତ୍ତି ବିକିକି ଦଉଛି ତାର ଯଦି ଏତେ ଦୟା ହଉ ତା ବାପା ସମ୍ପତ୍ତିରେ ସେ କରୁନି ଆମ ବାପା ସମ୍ପତ୍ତି ଆମେ ଛାଡିବୁନି ଆମେ ମରିବୁ ପଛେ ଆମେ ଛାଡିବୁନି
ଆମେ ତ ସରକାର ପଇସା 5 ପଇସାରେ ଚଳୁନୁ ସରକାରଠୁ ଦିନ ଆମେ ଲୋନ ଚାହିଁନୁ ଆମ ନିଜ ରୋଜଗାରରେ ଆମେ ଚଳୁଛୁ ସରକାର କଣ ପାଇଁ ଆମକୁ ଏଠୁ ଉଚ୍ଛେଦ କରିକି ଆମ ଜାଗା
ଦେଖିବ ଠିକିଆ ଗଲା କେତେ ଲୋନ କରିଛନ୍ତି
କଣ ପାଇଁ
କହିଛନ୍ତି କେତେ ପଇସା ଆଉ ଲୋନ କରିଛନ୍ତି କେତେ ଜଣ କହିଛନ୍ତି କେତେ ଜଣ
ସରକାର କାହା ଇଏରେ ସରକାର ହେଇଥିଲା ଲୋକଙ୍କୁ ନେଇ ସରକାର ନା ସରକାରକୁ ନେଇ ଲୋକଙ୍କ ତ ମତ ନାହିଁ ସରକାର କଣ ପାଇଁ କରିବ
Apart from growing betel leaves or engaging in paddy cultivation, the villagers also make a good earning from the cashew fields raised along the coast. The villagers receive lakhs every year from these fields.
ये जगह हूँ उर्वर जगह एटी पान आउ काजू आउ सब जंगल जागतिक जिन सबकि भरपूर रही जदि आम गोटे एकरे काजू 30 लाख टका दिखती तथापि आमको शांति नुह कहीं ना आम माने वर्ष वर्ष धरी काजू माने लक्ष 2 टका रोजगार करुँ काठ जाल माने सबकि माछ माने पान जो पान कि सारा भारत वर्ष कि बाहर स्टेट पठा जाउछि प्रति सप्ताह को 5 लाख रु 10 लाख टका ए पंचायत को आछि
In order to bring the affected people and the communities to its side and help the South Korean company POSCO go ahead with its project, the government has formulated ambitious rehabilitation and resettlement schemes developed by its bureaucrats in consultation with local political representatives.
मैं सोचता हूँ जो पैकेज होगा ये लाटेस्ट पैकेज होगा सारा देश का लाटेस्ट पैकेज होगा
But people are never allured with the promises made by the government. They strongly oppose the project to protect their rights and sources of livelihood.
We are not for POSCO. We are not for bargaining with the government. We are against POSCO, and our fight will continue till the logical conclusion and till the POSCO is out.
Nature has many opportunities to offer to these people to earn a steady livelihood. Even the landless fishermen make a good living through fishing in the riverine or in the sea mouth at Jatadhari. They do not want to miss all these for the project that has come with many promises against a plan for devastation of nature and to isolate these people from their sources of livelihood.
आमर कौन उन्नति हम आमको से खेती हम आमको से पैसा पता दबो किबा मोरा इना संपत्ति दबो कि ढियो बारी दबो हम नारे हम से हम बंचिबो आ मेला मोळा है कि एमती जेमती हमर पवन पानी माछ मांस खाई कि हम गढा है जेमती अछु आ कोन सेमती हे परिबो जते टंका देले टंका हमर कोन हबो हम नै कि टंका कोन खाइबो
कहि परिबे कोन आपण चैलेंज देई कहि परिबे को जगह रे जो कंपनी हेची सेठी एपे लोक जमी हरैचंदी विस्थापन हरैचंदी से बे घर द्वारा पाइ नांती पोस्को घर द्वारा कोन दबो एठी कोन हम कोठाबाटी लोक कहि रहि नांती
Both the major communities of the society, that class of the society, taking the economic group into consideration, that fishermen community and peasantry, both will be deprived of their natural livelihood. So we consider the displacement of livelihood is the real displacement of a family. The family may be there. His house, home and homestead may not go in the project area, but if his livelihood is displaced, his dependence on the forest land is displaced, his dependence on the sea, Jatadhar river is displaced, then that is the real displacement. So for which we have been fighting tooth and nail relentlessly against the POSCO steel plant.
It is not only the issue of livelihood. Not far from Paradip port, POSCO has plans to have its captive port on the mouth of river Jatadhari. Environmentalists foresee severe damages to the marine ecology and the local environment once a port comes up here. They have also expressed their concerns before the committees sent by the Ministry of Forest and Environment of India.
We are very concerned about the port because the port will affect the sea currents, which will lead to erosion of the turtle nesting beaches in Bhitarkanika and Paradip area where turtles nest in large numbers, and plus there will be a huge problem of lighting also.
Scientists too apprehend large-scale damage to the marine biodiversity if ports are allowed to come up in this fashion.
The sea is now untouched. As of now it is untouched. If you go for many ports and harbors, the sea will be touched, very much touched. And there will be lots of ships moving in the sea, trailers moving in the sea. So they will have their impact on the seawater, pollution of seawater, and the biodiversity of the marine biodiversity will be completely at stake.
Some of the political leaders even foresee another company Raj in India if private ports are allowed to operate in the country.
No port should be given to any foreigner, because I am reminded of the East India Company. East India Company had come to India for establishing industry, business. They were given port, and what ultimately happened? They snatched our independence. Therefore, I am not in favor of a foreign company coming and owning a port or establishing a port of its own, then try to control the economy of the state.
These arguments and apprehensions make no sense for the government of Orissa that has resorted to heavy police concentration in the project area. To curb the people's movement against POSCO, the state police have resorted to violence time and again. At least 5 lives were lost in this battle between the state and its people. But the Chief Minister of Orissa, Naveen Patnaik, has repeatedly said that his government believes in peaceful industrialization.
We believe in peaceful industrialization in our state and that no one should indulge in violence.
But peace never lasted beyond a while in the proposed POSCO project area. Democratic protests by people always had to encounter high-handedness and violence by the state police. In order to pressurize the government to restrain from using its forces against people, women had to stage a semi-nude protest on 7th March 2013. To the women's rights activists, women resorting to stage such semi-nude protest explained how unsympathetic the government is in safeguarding the interests of its people.
The women, when they go for the nude protest, I think it was the last only chance and last resort for them. It was the last fight, till death. It is like that for them. That's why they go for this protest, and I hands off to those women who are so courageous, and for the Indian women basically. That's too in Orissa, it happened in first time. And it is really, really very painful for me as a woman that we are only a silent spectator to see what is happening to them. Nobody is protesting. Nobody is saying against anything. Not only even opposition, sitting government, everything. Everybody is mum on that issue. I think this is the right time for all the women. They should come forward and ask united together and fight for their rights. This is for every woman has to support, because dignity of at the cost of the dignity of the woman, no POSCO, no big company can stand. It is not tolerable.
However, even the semi-nude protest by women failed to stop the government and its police. the women protesters were beaten mercilessly by the police. This was how the public voice was suppressed to make way for a foreign corporate in the name of the country's largest foreign direct investment.
Suppressing the public opinion, you cannot go for any industry. Recently, the Supreme Court has said that the people of India, hearing the name of development or industry, are being alarmed. They hate the idea of industry. They disapprove the idea of industry because they lose everything and in return they get nothing.
But no protest, no political opinion, no intellectual voice has deterred the South Korean steel producer from pushing the project against the will of the people. Rather, teams were deployed in regular intervals to put diplomatic pressure on the Odisha government to make the POSCO India steel plant project move ahead. In his last visit, while pleading for quick realization of the project, South Korean ambassador Lee Jun-gyu described that the project would become the biggest gift to people of both the countries.
This year marks the 40th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Korea and India. If we would be able to launch this POSCO mega project, that would be the biggest present to the peoples of India and also people of Korea.
POSCO, the so-called biggest gift, has become nightmarish with concentration of police and their high-handed actions in the project area. The rich green environment is being sacrificed and coastal ecology threatened to make POSCO a gift for few who don't have to lose anything for it. These sobs and tears in the villages explain how the gift has become too costly for people who have lost their land and beetle vines. Time will tell if at all this project of POSCO comes up as a gift to these kids or becomes a nightmare and darkens their future.